Hello, everyone. My name is Roy Ferretes, and I am the Work Study Coordinator here at the University of Texas at Arlington. And today we will be covering the ins and outs of work study for supervisors. So, here in the Career Development Center, we have recently developed and launched a program that we call Student Employment High Impact Practice Model, otherwise known as CHIP. And this program plays an important role in terms of student employment here at the university. And the effects are extremely positive on students' onboarding process and the student experience as student employees. And of course, this practice goes beyond the traditional sense in terms of development education. As you see on your screen, CHIP incorporates various aspects of the student employment experience. And if you are interested in learning more about the program, potentially becoming a part of the program, please reach out to us here in the Career Development Center because we would be more than happy to talk to you about the program and give you all the resources you would need in order to deliver this program successfully as a supervisor for your student employees here at the university. And again, one thing we are really big on here in the Career Development Center is career readiness. And of course, that encompasses various aspects of the student employment experience, especially the student employment experience in terms of work-based learning is extremely powerful for students. And that is one thing we strive here in the Career Development Center, which is why it's so critical and such a big piece of of CHIP. So again, if you are interested in learning about the program, want to become a part of the program, please reach out to us here in the Career Development Center. So, work study, what is it? So, work study is a federally funded and state funded program that provides supplemental funding to on campus departments as well as approved off campus employers. Work study students can only work 19 hours a week max. Now, the pay distribution formula. Departments on campus are required to cover 25% of the overall student cost and the work study program will cover the other 75%. Eligibility requirements. In order for a student to be eligible for work study, they have to be a U.S. citizen, U.S. permanent resident, temporary legal resident, in order to be eligible for work study. Unfortunately, international students are not eligible for work study, and students must complete their FAFSA or TASFA annually, and that is how the Office of Financial Aid determines financial need. That is also a big piece as well, is the Career Development Center does not award and distribute work study. The Office of Financial Aid awards and distributes work study. The Career Development Center does not. So if you or the student ever have specific questions in terms of their work study eligibility and payment, all that is handled through the Office of Financial Aid, not the Career Development Center. Also, students must be enrolled in at least 6 credit hours. So, of course, part-time enrollment. If a student drops below 6 credit hours, they will lose their work study eligibility. So, what we encourage our supervisors to do is to request a copy during the interview process from students. That way, you can verify if the student is enrolled in at least 6 credit hours. And from there, during the onboarding process, you can speak to the student to let the student know if they are going to drop any courses. That way, you're aware of it as well for eligibility requirements for work study. Enrollment for the summer, they must be enrolled in at least 6 credit hours for either summer one or summer two. Now, it is also possible they can be enrolled in at least 3 credit hours for summer one and then 3 credit hours for summer two. Of course, if that time ever, when that time comes again, if you have any specific questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to us here in the Career Development Center, and we can speak to you in terms of the summer requirements. Now, how the award is awarded, and how to know if a student has work study. As mentioned, the Office of Financial Aid determines eligibility and distributes the award based on information from their FAFSA or TASFA. Uh, from there, the Office of Financial Aid reviews the accounts. Students will be notified via their MyMav if they have been awarded work study. Students must accept work study in their MyMav in order for them to officially be a work study student. Sometimes students may say, I have work study, but if they have not accepted the work study award in their MyMav in their financial aid section, then officially they do not. They have been offered work study. They do not have work study. But once they go in there and they accept that they have work study, then officially they do at that point. Um, and then their work study eligibility form is available 10 days before the first day of classes. So also please keep that in mind as well. If you are speaking to a student and the student lets you know, hey, I don't see the work study eligibility form in my MyMath, at that point, then they would have to contact the Office of Financial Aid. They can speak to them in person or they can send them an email. And these are instructions about how students can review and retrieve their work study eligibility form through their MyMath. And again, if they don't see that form, then they would have to contact the Office of Financial Aid in person or at fao@uta.edu. How many positions can a work study student work? Work study students can work in 2 work study positions in the same semester. However, between those 2 positions, the student can work no more than 19 hours a week between those 2 positions. So if you do hire a student that is already working on campus as a work study student, you would have to speak to that other supervisor to determine work schedule. Um, then also work study students can work one non-work study position and another non-work study position at the same time. But again, between both positions, the work study student can work no more than 19 hours a week max, and you would have to speak to that other supervisor to determine the student's class or work schedule. Then, again, work study is a federally funded and state funded program. So, as a result, there are requirements that have to be followed. For example, students must work to earn pay. Students cannot skip class to work because, again, they are students first and foremost. Students cannot receive an advancement on their work study award, so they cannot be paid for hours they have not worked. And students must work in the student's service area. Now, on Handshake, when you are posting the work study positions, please include the following include the name and address of the employer or department, purpose of job, duty and responsibility, job qualifications, hourly rate, start and end date, and name of supervisor. And this just makes the information easier for students to understand what they would be doing, what their responsibilities are, what the pay is, as well as the qualifications needed to start the position. Then, when it comes time to post on Handshake, please include the following. Please make sure the work study box is selected. And then please include work study in the title. If you are going to hire for a work study and non-work study student, please create 2 separate job posts. And the reason these are the requirements in Handshake is because only work study students who have accepted their work study award in their MyMath can see work study positions in Handshake. So Handshake acts as a filter to make sure only work study students can apply for work study positions. If you are talking to a student and the student tells you that they are unable to see the work study position that you have posted, it is likely that that student does not have work study. But of course, if you have any questions about Handshake during this process, you're more than welcome to reach out to us here in the Career Development Center, and we'd be happy to help you and answer any questions you may have. Now, what you see on the screen is the work study box. And again, once you click this and include UTA work study in the title, it acts as a filter so students who are applying know that it is a work study position. Now, when the semester ends and you're getting ready to post a position again, uh, please make sure you duplicate the job post. The reason we ask that you duplicate the job post is because all the information will carry over and reset, including the pool of applicants. So once you duplicate a job post, you will have an entire new pool of applicants to choose from. If you select copy job post, all the information will carry over, including the pool of applicants. So it is possible that you think you have a student who applied for that position, but it could have been a student who applied the previous semester, which is why duplicating the job post is the most effective format, because that way you know students who are applying for the first time, and you're not contacting students who are no longer interested in the position. Then, when it comes time to post and Handshake and you're working on the job description, please include those 3 bullet points. Must have work study award from the Office of Financial Aid. Must provide work study eligibility form from my math to supervisor, and must provide a copy of your class schedule. The reason we tell our departments to include this information is that way you can verify that the student actually does have work study, as well as you can see a copy of their class schedule, so that way you can verify their enrollment as well. For expiration, please do not let the job post be active for more than 1 to 2 months. Um, and then instructions about how to duplicate a job post. You simply log into Handshake, select position you want to duplicate. Once you select it, on the right hand side of the screen from the More Action, a drop down menu will appear. And you simply have to select Duplicate Job. Once you do that, everything will reset, including the pool of applicants. Now, how do you hire a work study student once everything's done? Um, Review a copy of their work study eligibility form that they can provide to you for My Math. They can also upload a copy of their work study eligibility form into Handshake and submit it along with their resume in Handshake as well. Then work study assignments are now entered through eForms on UT Share. So you will need to attach a copy of the student's work study eligibility form and put the Handshake posting number in the comments section during this process. Now, what you see on the screen is the start dates for work study students. If you're hiring an incoming freshman, however, please note that they cannot start to prior to August 16th, as they would not have summer work study. In order to have summer work study, a student must be enrolled at the university and be at least a part-time student in terms of being enrolled for at least 6 credit hours. Now, tracking their awards. We tell students that it is their responsibility to track their award. But as a supervisor, you can also speak to them during this process, during their onboarding as well. Uh, Please note that the Office of Financial Aid tracks all work study earnings. Department supervisors are also encouraged to track the earnings as well to avoid overspending for the student. If needed, the student and the department can request additional funding if the original award will not cover the student's term through the semester, but that would be done with the Office of Financial Aid. Departments may be notified by financial aid when the student's award is below $500. But again, supervisors, please track the student's earnings And please speak to the student, especially during your weekly or daily check-ins as well. Now, the formula for tracking the student's work study award, it's simply the total award, which will be listed on their work study eligibility form, divided by the number of weeks in the semester left that the student is working. It'll provide you a total. That total, you simply multiply it by the hourly rate. So, for example, what you see on the screen is this student can work 12.5 hours a week to earn their full award for the semester. Also, please be aware that your department is responsible for 25% of the student's award. So, for example, in this case, this department would be responsible for $375 for the student's award. Now, this is a balance sheet that you are welcome to give to the student, especially during the onboarding process, so that way the student knows that they are responsible for tracking their award. Now, another requirement of work study is work study students are required to go through a performance review. Um, Now, you can have this conversation, say, in the middle of the semester or at the end of the semester. It's completely up to you when this performance review takes place. Just be aware that this performance review must take place. Some departments do it 3 times a semester, beginning, middle, or end. Some just do it at the end. It's completely up to you when this happens. It just needs to occur. And the reason this performance review must take place is because in some cases, this may be the student's first position that they've ever had. So this allows the student an opportunity to understand and grow as a professional and develop those professional skills that will allow for their social mobility post graduation. What you see on the screen is an example of a performance review that you are welcome to give to the students during the onboarding process, during the performance review. Ideally, you would give this to the student ahead of the performance review meeting conversation. That way they have time to enter out their information and how in terms of skill development that they think they are actually doing. At that point, you can then review it and have a conversation with the student. This information is also listed on the UTA Student Employment website as well. Then, of course, if you have any questions or need any support, you're more than welcome to contact us at offcampusworkstudy@uta.edu. But of course, if you have any questions regarding students' work study eligibility, please contact the Office of Financial Aid at fao@uta.edu.